Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads, where today we are talking the Sackets. We are meeting Flagon and Galloway Sackett, part of that long-standing Sackett family, pioneer family that is bigger than the state of Texas. Stick around. So, Book 11 from Louis L'Amour, The Skyliners. It was published in 1967. This, again, is a Western, obviously. And let's dive right into the summary of this thing. So, Galloway and Flagon Sackett, they are brothers. We got slightly introduced to them in one of the William Tell Sackett stories previously in previous entries in the Sackett series. But this one is their own account, is actually told from Flagon's point of view as kind of like the narrator, but you don't really get that feel for the most part. And so what the story entails is Flagon and Galloway are in New Mexico. They are trying to raise money to pay off some of the family debts, specifically related to their pa and his passing. And then they're going to make their way back to Tennessee as they are part of the Tennessee Sackett families. There's a lot of different types of genealogy from there. But in doing so, word gets around, and a gentleman named Laban Costello approaches both Galloway and Flagon and asks them for if he could hire them. He promises them horses and money, specifically Irish breeding horses of really good stock. And the job is to take his granddaughter Judith back to her pa in Colorado. Unbeknownst to them at the time, Judith has been meeting with a gentleman that they had a run-in previously before their meeting and proposition with Laban Costello, a gentleman by the name of James Fetchin, who goes by the infamous name of Black Fetchin. And him and his crew ran into Galloway and Flagon and had a little bit of a scuffle. Some words were exchanged, some hands were over holsters. But luckily, Galloway didn't back down and got them to apologize and sing a song, which was kind of funny. But flash forward, they start taking Judith back to Colorado, and that's when they encounter that Judith has been talking with James Fetchin, Black Fetchin, and Black Fetchin not only wants to marry Judith, but also has other things that he is in mind of. Both Galloway and Flagon feel like, hey, they've got to both outmaneuver Fetchins and his outfit, as well as try to keep wrangle on a 16-year-old girl who is trying to evade them and get to Fetchin. Well, obviously, Fetchin's not a nice man, but in Judith's eyes at that point, he is, and everything that she wanted. But they made a promise to Laban that they were going to take Judith to her father, and that's what they're trying to do. All the while, there's different twists and turns that come about, which really makes it kind of an interesting little take. So what I enjoyed about this, obviously Flagon and Galloway, they don't take anything from anyone. I really enjoyed them as characters. I thought they were just quick on the draw. They backed up what they said they were going to do. They're not afraid to use their iron. And they definitely, along with all the other Sackets we've read up until this point, there's a lot of cachet and reputation that comes with them, especially when people realize that they're Sackets. I really liked some returning characters. Cap Roundtree makes a reappearance in this story, which I definitely like him from his days with Tyrell and Orrin Sackett. There is, in usual Louis L'Amour fashion, it makes for a both quick read with plenty of action. I really thought the conflict in the main climax of the story was really well done. And unlike most of Louis L'Amour's books, I thought this one paid a good amount of time and page material to the conflict and the major conflict and its conclusion. There is definitely some, like in Louis L'Amour's true fashion, there is some twists and turns as you get closer to the end that makes it an interesting read and kind of caps off everything. Definitely plenty of nods and mentions to other Sackets, whether it's Orlando, Tyrell, Orrin, in most other entries in the Sackett series. There's a couple excerpts that I thought you would be interested in. One of them was this. it doesn't matter how tough a man becomes or how good he is with a gun. There comes the time when his draw is a little too slow or something gets in the way of his bullet. And I thought that was really indicative. And then there was one towards the end that I thought was really interesting. It goes, there wasn't anything else to do. I wasn't able to go any further, and I wasn't of the mind to. Right here, we would settle it. Black and me and the rest of them. That was really indicative. Always, if you're going to push a man, especially a Sackett, he is going to push back. In terms of rating and overall, I give this a 4.1. I thought it was a really solid entry. Definitely not my favorite of the Sacketts, but it's definitely up there, right in that good wheelhouse area. Just a really good, quick read. I really enjoyed Flagon and Galloway. They're likable characters. I do miss Tell Sackett. I did peek ahead in terms of what the other books will entail as we're getting closer to completion of all 17 of the Sackett series books. Tell is a character that comes back, so I'm very excited about that. This, I will say, is one girl character that I didn't think was a huge supporting character. Most of the women that are portrayed as antagonists or supporting characters in these stories are usually more robust, and this one seemed to be kind of just in the minutia. They're not a very huge supporting character, but it is what it is. It was, again, a quick, fun read, and I enjoyed it. And that is my review of The Skyliners from Louis L'Amour, book number 11 in the Sackett series, 4.1 out of 5. And I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Thanks. Every time I press record, the train starts. Like, how many trains go through this town? I mean, like, it must be like 20 a day. It's unbelievable.